Vegan infighting, isn't it fun? All jokes aside, we need to talk about this. If you're a part of the vegan activist community, you will hear big and small activists saying that we should all focus on this one particular aspect in order to make people go vegan. Even in the non-activist community, you hear foodies claiming that we should just focus on sharing recipes with people, or environmentalists saying that we should just focus on the environmental impacts and sharing those types of information with people, as they are much more receptive to that message. Now the thing is, I'm not here to say that any of those instances are incorrect in the fact that they are great entries into a plant-based diet, but the concept that they are basing this theory on is a part of an incomplete results-based analysis on top of their own biased experience of going vegan. I too experienced this train of thought when contemplating the most effective way for people to live a cruelty-free lifestyle. But here is the crux of it. No one thing will make anyone vegan. If you are vegan yourself, think about the last thing you did, saw, heard, or thought before you went vegan. When you tell others about this experience, you are likely to recall upon it and communicate it in a way that suggests that this is the thing that made me vegan. Our biological evolution has developed in a way to keep our brains in a state of cognitive ease, not spending too much time thinking about non-survival topics through the use of time-efficient and energy-saving functions such as heuristic biases, which result in logical fallacies. Propose this question to yourself. What if you were to take that moment, that experience that made you go vegan, and apply it 5 years into the past, or even 10 years? With the way that you experienced life in the past, do you think that this experience that made you go vegan would have made you go vegan in the same instance? I would predict not. Circling back to our state of cognitive ease, it's so much easier to represent the moment before going vegan as the sole cause of going vegan. Acknowledging all of the conscious decisions and interactions, along with all of the uncontrollable effects on our subconscious from our surroundings, to communicate why we chose to do something is extremely hard and inefficient to do. If you think of a similar question, such as what made you the person you are today, you are obviously more inclined to focus on a single or set of impactful experiences rather than focus on all the potential factors that are involved. Let's go to a more simpler analogy. Essentially, we are puzzle solving in relation to the fact that the goal we have is to create a world where animal suffering is reduced as far as practicable and possible by trying to solve the puzzle of figuring out how to get other people to go vegan as well. When trying to solve a puzzle, such as a picture puzzle, there can be thousands of individual pieces. Not any single piece is worth more than another in this instance. However, building a chain of pieces gets you to build momentum and build a better perspective as to how to solve the puzzle. This leads to the point where the last pieces of the puzzle seem to be the easiest and most satisfying to place. At the end of the puzzle becomes a clear image. Ethical veganism for the sole purpose of reducing animal suffering, where before it was a much more incoherent assembly of the puzzle, thinking that veganism is either about health or the environment. Instead, on completion, we realize that these are only added benefits to the ethical principle. This is where our intuition comes to place higher value on specific interactions, even though in the grand scheme of things, all of these interactions are required and they each have a place that they belong. The last pieces of the puzzle for you going vegan had the most significant impact and completely overshadow the other equally important interactions. I want to talk about outreach specifically, as I think it is extremely underrated and attendance rates are far lower than any other form of activism. I do not blame vegans or activists for this, but more broadly, I place blame on the false expectation of two things. That we attribute going vegan as a result of a singular experience, and we think that outreach is one of these experiences. Depending on how long the conversation is, they can either be a single piece or a chain of pieces in this puzzle. The order of these pieces, whether they fall at the start, the end, or somewhere in between, is entirely up to the individual, not the outreacher. This is just like with every other interaction. However, myself previously and other new outreaches I see hold the expectation that after giving these pieces of the puzzle to the person, that they will be able to solve the problem, and that is just completely not true. All interactions have an equal importance and are required for all of us to make a better world together. I encourage you to see which pieces of the puzzle you enjoy giving others and focus on it consistently, without giving other pieces of the puzzle a bad name. We all have the same goal of animal liberation, and hopefully we understand the expectations of these interactions. So let's build each other up instead of picking apart on one another's progress with this puzzle.